Hey traders, good morning. Sorry for the late start. I didn't get a chance to set up until about 5 minutes ago. So it is 9:45 and see this aggressive buying here coming up until looks like December 4th, December 9th, which is the extremes of December 9th, volume as well. I had this area marked between 237.91 and 237.03. Price has definitely gone above that with no pintail. There hasn't been any flattening of VWAP. Currently, there's a pintail happening now, uh, but I want to see more evidence of potentially that's happening. That is a deviation. Looks like the fourth extreme high of the 9th December. So previous VWAP or previous POC from the fourth. So it looks like it's coming up at the extremes, which is also, like I said, the deviation of the fourth. So I have added 239 and 238 puts into my watch list. I currently have 238s in my active trader. So just trying to be patient, especially with a late start. Um, And then I'll go over my analysis once we're done. So there's a nice little rejection pintail. That's actually showing promise at 239. I may switch to 238 by the time we actually get into it. Nice little rejection, nice pintail, a lot of volume happening within here too. So that's telling me something on the books. Again, some more triggers here. Sellers are coming in pretty heavily. Just want to give it some time. If we do have that pintail, we start to see ejection or that flattening out of VWAP a little bit, maybe a good opportunity to jump in it. I got 238s in my watch list right now and my active trader. Excuse me. It's a nice rejection there. We can see some sellers are really starting to push it in, uh, push on, pile in, I should say. Delta flip as well on some very, very high volume. Not as much as the first one. Was that what? 200, 2 million. So 1.7. So we see a lot of volume is happening in a delta flip currently. See the end of this candle. So got a minute and 30 seconds. This is truly going to be an opportunity to flip. Which I gotta be a little surprised that price went so high. That's a bad job for more. I'm trying to sell it. Right, sellers are trying to come into it right here. It's at 950. I'm starting to see again, they're trying to pile in, right? Here's some icebergs, another iceberg is absorption. They're definitely trying it. Point 0.9 in volume. Again, we still have a delta flip with that pintail. Still have 238s. I may switch to 239s. Like we're coming towards the end of this candle. It's gonna be an end, it's gonna be a delta flip for sure. All right, let's see. Nice little pintail. You can start to see some aggression, high volume there, high volume there. So I'm gonna switch to the 238s. No, 239s. I'm gonna keep 239s. All right, I'm in 239, and at $81 per contract. Late to the party. So this right here, again, this is surprising. These buy-ups on bad news. Looks like we came all the way up to, and I forget what day that was. I didn't write it down. Uh, ninth? Oh, we're here. Yeah, the ninth. So Monday, December the ninth, 2024. Extreme high deviation. Um, no, I was gonna say poor high, poor high, but that's not it. Starting to see some aggressive selling. And 81 is my entry. There we go. Now we're seeing some aggressive selling now. All right, just get my first TP at 91. So we're currently at 95. Let me move my stop. Move my stop from up to 83 just to lock in profit as well as pay for my commission fees. So price is currently at 94. 101 would be great. That'd be the 20. It's a nice rejection. See volume of sellers were coming in right here, right where I'm circling at. Nice pintail. VWAP is starting to try to flatten out. Let's see what deviation is doing. Deviation is trying to flatten out. Volume profile on the books also showing V shape. So I don't know if I'm going to get the full 20 because I just moved my stop to 83, getting the lock in profit and to pay for my commissions. Right now is at 87. So I think the 10, unless we have a nice little drop here, I think I'm going to get just 10 per contract in profit. I mean, I could move my stop and had it at break even 81. That would have been be giving back some money. All right, so it's at 90. I think that may be it. If this it goes, I'm seeing a lot of selling aggression though, right? Got that aggression here, right here, single prints. The imbalance, I should say, not single prints. 87. Again, my out is 83 because I moved my stop to protect profit and to pay for commission fees. Looks like it's at 83 and a half, back to 85. That's back to 85. Teetering on taking me out at this at the $10 mark. It's 83 and a half. Now it's back to 88. Okay. I would take profits all the way back to deviation VWAP. That could be if I don't get 20 there. I may just take it here at VWAP, which is at the 238.49 mark. That'd be good to take all profits if we don't get to 101. It looks like it's at 93 now. So going from $10 profit to almost getting stopped out at the 83 mark. It's 83 and a half. So if this doesn't give me 101, we're definitely gonna take our profits here in VWAP, 238.50. So looking like some aggressive selling back down. So is that 91? Okay, here's 100. So a dollar. It's teetering on give me that $1. That $1. Possibly targeting here. Yeah, that 238.30, 238.65 would have that was right at a dollar. And my 20 would be at 101. Getting in that as a entry price was 81. First take profit was 91. Update my deviation bands too. I may do instead of 2.5, just do 3. Is it two is the standard, industry standard. 3 is definitely bargain basement. So 2.5 is approaching that bargain basement. And we're back to 83 and a half. So we're looking at probably just $10 profit. I was gonna let the last 25% run to to get that 20. So now we're back to 84. Again, call it perfect entry. We're teetering on the second part stop. His sellers are coming back, roaring back. Drive the 238.65 number. I think I'm gonna take it all here at 91. Just take my profits. Take everything at 91. I'll be leaving money on the table. I mean, I've already made again the $10, so I'm happy with that. Would love the last 25% to give me 21. I'm still in it, but makes sense to get out. So I'm gonna take everything here. Done. Thing is at $10. The full 200 lots. So let me just check my, yep, and I'm officially out of it. TOS gave me the notification. All right. Good day. Let me double check my account before we go into, all right, cool. So all out 81 entry, 91 was the first take profit, which was my 75% of my lot size. Always do that. Take some profit off the table and let the rest of it run to the 20. If it don't, if it does, great. If it don't, still made money. All right. So let's talk about what I had marked from last night, which obviously we ran right past it. So pre-market, you can see how at 8:20 we had a burst of buying all the way up to cash open to where we just this first 13 minutes of the market, we had this buy all the way to 239s, and we finally got a pintail, and we see some sellers start to come into it aggressively. But price actually opened within the profile of December 9th, 2024. His so I actually had this marked from last night. All right, so we are out of balance above last session, but because of that burst of buying last session, yesterday, Thursday, the 4th, um, I don't want to say this like I know because I don't know, but I just had a feeling that we would probably be out of balance, right? The market would try to find liquidity somewhere. And the only liquidity area from 238s, we go all the way back to yesterday, right? So we had this burst of buying here, right? So the only liquidity area that I could find after we closed in the 236 was right here at 237, 15. So again, the market always looking for liquidity. They're looking for stops. So I'm saying, okay, this is a swing here. Now, if I were to open up the chart, you can see exactly what that swing is. All right, so this is regular. I just want to make sure. Yeah, exit that out. Yep. So these are regular. So now that the profiles are open, you can see now we're really falling down. I wonder. I left that. Yep, I left that 20 on the table because now it's 103. They really coming in now. So I figure we're gonna have some selling here because of this is a swing, right? So I figured the market would be looking for, yeah, so let me make it a little bigger. We're looking to take out stops here. Now, when I came in this morning, I didn't expect price to run through it right here. So seeing that price ran through it, that makes sense for the buy because all right, so we ran it through liquidity sweep to come back to it to buy it makes a lot of sense, right? And we actually opened down here below it. So I actually took out this liquidity from last session, which is interesting. So where would the turnaround be? Now that when I came into the market, cash out at a pre-market a little late, about when did I come in? 9:10, something like that, 9:20, maybe 9:40. I forget what time it was. Seeing that this had happened, this huge buying here. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. This one, at cash open, it was kind of and I was right there. Look at that. And I said right back to VWAP. All right, but anyway, just seeing how this happened, it was like, okay, now I'm looking for the turnaround. Obviously, they took out this um, liquidity here from the swing high. And this, I said, I marked from here because I was looking for the swing high liquidity area. And what would the whole area of interest be? So if I pan all the way out, actually, if I go to December, you can see that's where I got that from. Right here's liquidity from the 11th. And I thought maybe here as well. So that's why I got that liquidity swing down. Obviously, we took out this liquidity, which makes sense because that's pretty much a two-time frame trader swing and market down, which is also near a POC, a previous POC, which was December 4th. Here's another swing, a previous swing down from December 4th in value high of, I guess you can call this a poor high. Let me see if TOS um, looks at that as a poor high. Not TOS, I'm sorry, TradingView. They value this as a poor high. Uh, do, do, do. Not quite here, but definitely here. Oh, because two TPO, same price. I would have thought maybe because here and here, and then here would be a poor high as well, but they don't deem that as poor high. Anyway, so we had a bunch of confluences there. And now that I'm closing the TPO, you can see volume high is also a confluence. So if I was to mark that, to you, price got up there, which is also the edge of a ledge on the TPO chart and on volume chart. You had the poor high. What was it called? The poor, yep, the poor high is there. So I guess if we marked it here, so between edge of a ledge, volume high, poor high, to exactly what prices went to. Edge of a ledge, poor high, volume high. Let's open the profile back up. Didn't expect us to run through this liquidity, but we did to another point of interest. So if we go to profile, the volume profile, open that up, slim it down a little bit. Well, we don't even have to look at the numbers. That's still a value profile. So obviously we ran through liquidity, right, to buy it. Here is the VWAP. VWAP is flattening out too. And deviation 2.5 is flattening out. That is that Pentel I was looking for. I need a sign that the sellers were coming in. Obviously, we can see it here. Let's see if I can make it here. Obviously, the sellers were coming in right there, right? Right here. That's all that selling. And if I was to zoom in, you can actually see it, right? All this selling right here. Make it a little easier. Right there. All that selling right there to drop the market. Nice pintail here. So show that there is right there, pintail there, just to show that the sellers are in the mix. So we're starting to see them come in here pretty heavily. And then we see that rejection, almost like a wall. You can look at that as um maybe icebergs are starting to form here, right? Because every time price try to go up or buyers try to pull price higher, they get met with a wall. Obviously, that pintail, right? So we can see them trying to come in here heavily, right? We get that nice pintail. We're at the bargain basement of price deviation one, which is 2.5. Again, I don't do the industry standard of two. So bargain basement of prices. We see that rejection tail. We see sellers are coming in pretty heavy. And then in this candles where I got in, we can see that imbalance started to form at the top of the candle. VWAP is starting to flatten out. So that's telling me the shift is definitely happening. Uh, so, yep, I definitely left that 20 on the table because it's now 112. So So my analysis from last night, and that's part of the reason why I don't do analysis the day before, because anything can happen pre-market or in the futures market where you have to do it over. So here, VWAP is definitely flattening out. Sellers are heavy there. Another Pintel, sellers are heavy here. Back to VWAP, of trading below VWAP. So you can probably target maybe the bottom here, the swing to 37.70 could be. If that goes through there, then deviation for sure. We also have imbalanced buying from the first at open. So you can imagine some buyers as it's happening now. There is some buying here. That's why we had a nice little tail. It runs through it. We got a nice little area of imbalance there. Potentially, you could probably target that to be your stop if you're still in it. Two, man, 122. Wow. 122. They're in there heavily and they're aggressive selling through this imbalance of buying. VWAP is definitely flat. Nice indication there. Nice little pintail. Bargain basement prices. So again, I do so let me give an example also. If I was to do industry standard, I do have industry standard. I'm lying. It's supposed to be 2.5. It's supposed to be 4.5. Oh, it changed on me. I'm wrong. I did have an industry standard. Still bargain basement. Just want to change that. Anyway, still flat deviation even with 2.5. Nice little pintail to show the sellers were serious. And on the books, let's see, this was around 9:51. So this happened around here on the books. So they were all day long, all morning long. Here's 9:30. They were putting in orders, right? Stops, absorption, icebergs, absorption, icebergs, absorption, iceberg, absorption. Like they're really sellers were really working the sell. They just, taking out liquidity, grabbing as much money as they can, bargain basement prices, and then drop it. Here is at what time is it? 9:50. Right. Here's an execution of a iceberg, absorption, a bigger absorption there. And we finally fell through. Finally get that pintail that we were looking for. Aggressiveness of selling, and look at them now. Oof, 130, 131 now. Could have sold it for. Man, man. So late to the party, did not expect this to happen. But again, as always, we want to see that reaction. We know that for one, let me go to it. On the news front, employment situation was horrible. Consensus was 77,000, a little bit of a slow up from the previous report, 79, but they slowed up all the way down to 22,000. So employment growth is still a thing. We're still growing, but has slowed down tremendously. Unemployment has gone up 0.1% from 4.2 to now 4.3. So the report itself was negative, thinking that could be the catalyst to drop the market. Look at that. Yeah, I left a lot of money on the table, y'all. But still got 10 cent on the entire play. So not not too bad. Great way to end a Friday. Just about being patient, you know. Even when you're late to the party, still being patient and understanding there's gonna turn around. There's gonna be some kind of emotional flip, right? We know that the report was negative. The market is not gonna run on negativity. So you have to look at the profiles. You have to look at the charts to find areas of interest. My area of interest that I marked last night was definitely not it. Unless you could have made the thought of buying because actually VWAP was extended higher, right? So that could have been the buy. As VWAP is going higher, price goes high until we see a flattening, and then now we're seeing VWAP actually drop and draws is falling off. Wow. Yep. Deviation is flattening back down. It's went from flat to drop. So this is second TPO. We're at 1013. So this is the second TPO morning. So this is second time frame trader. First time frame trader rolled prices higher, which I'm not now that I see it. I didn't peep coming in again coming in late. I didn't watch this. VWAP going higher. Waiting for that bargain basement price. VWAP starting to flatten out. And now we're dropping. Mostly we're just looking for pintail. See aggressiveness into a pintail. Again, we can say that maybe icebergs are sitting there. If we look at the books, you can make that assumption because here's a 950. Here's a nice little iceberg here, right at that mark, right at the 950 mark here, right there. Iceberg's a little bit before that, 945. So you can make that assumption here that these are icebergs because we see iceberg indicator on the books. We see some sellers absorbing buyers. All right, man, we're really, man. I'm gonna get off this thing before I get too sick because now it's almost at $2. At an entry of 81. All right, everybody. Well, I hope that helps. Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will get back one day.